to.
Okay. So my name is Jeremy Lucero. I'm a member of PERRO, Pilsen Environmental Rights and Reform Organization. That's an environmental justice group here in the Pilsen neighborhood. And we're at the Alderman Medical Center here right now, right in the heart of Pilsen. Alderman has been a great supporter of the Clean Power Ordinance here in Chicago because they see the effects on their clients, asthma rates, those kind of things from the power plants. And we have a big problem here in Pilsen right now, which is the fact that Alderman Solis, our alderman for this area, is not supporting the Clean Power Ordinance. He hasn't signed on to it, which is a shame because he had supported a previous version of this back in 2003, did the right thing, signed on to that one, became a sponsor of that one, has not signed on to this version, and we think the reason is that newest generation puts a lot of money into Mr. Solis' pocket. They've donated or contributed almost $50,000 in donations to him for campaign purposes over the last 9 years. Charley Parnel, who's a spokesperson for the newest generation, Charley's on Danny's election committee, finance committee for his re-election effort, and apparently we hear that Charley Parnel and Danny Solis are very close personally. So it seems like the company's really done its best to try to ingratiate themselves to Alderman Solis, and that's why he has not signed on to the ordinance this time. So we're trying to convince him that it's more important that he supports the health of residents of his community rather than worry about the money that he gets from the next generation. So.
Okay, well, it's been said that this plant generates jobs. How many jobs of people in the Pilsen community has this generated?
None, as far as we know. Our understanding is that of the couple hundred jobs that there are at the Fisk plant here and the Crawford plant in Little Village, that all of those people are people that commute in from outside the city. Now that doesn't mean that we want them to lose their jobs. What we'd like to see is this facility turned into something that would be clean power generating, that would keep those jobs, actually maybe even add jobs. If they were to transfer over to our cleaner technologies, there's a good chance it would actually result in a net growth of jobs rather than a loss of jobs. So we're not about losing people's jobs. That's certainly not what we're about. In fact, we'd like to see, in the event that Midwest Generation decides to close these plants, I mean, it would be up to them to do that. We're just calling for them to be cleaned up. But if they decide to close them, they should have some kind of retraining programs for their workers to be able to put them into new technologies that are going to have a future. The problem is this technology doesn't have a future, so these are jobs that don't have a future ultimately, and so they need to move into a different direction.
Can we talk just a little bit about the health impact here in the community, some of the statistics that you're aware of?
Well, there was in 2001 there was a Harvard School of Public Health, researchers at the Harvard School of Public Health did a study, and they found that the plants, Fisk and Crawford alone, create about 40 premature deaths a year because of the pollutants that come out of the plants, about 550 emergency room visits a year, and thousands of asthma attacks every year come from the pollutants that come out of these plants. And actually those numbers back in 2001 were just recently updated with recent data by the Respiratory Health Association of Chicago, and they found that the numbers are almost exactly the same. Very small variations in numbers from 2001 till now. We're still seeing about 40 deaths. We're still seeing thousands of asthma attacks and hundreds of emergency room visits. So it's definitely a serious health impact on our community.
And basically, what's the population here in the Pilsen community?
Well, Pilsen is an immigrant working class neighborhood. It's been that way for about 150 years, mostly Mexican immigrants. A lot of them are undocumented and have lots of struggles they face in their lives, both finding living wage jobs, trying to get a comprehensive immigration reform that will allow them to regularize their status so they're not living in the shadows any further. Certainly, socioeconomic concerns are big in this community. The people are being displaced by gentrification in this neighborhood, which is another thing that we're concerned about. We don't want to see people forced out of their homes they can't afford the rents or the property taxes any further. But certainly on top of all that, they're dealing with serious environmental problems. I mean, Fisk is one of a number of major polluters in this area, although Fisk is by far the biggest. And so if we can solve the Fisk problem, we'll go a long way to improving the health of the life of residents in this neighborhood.
Well, thank you so very much for your time today.
Thank you.